There's an intriguing quality to folks who navigate existence with a natural grace, not the polished, calculated variety, but the sort that flows spontaneously, without pretense or deliberation, revealing a raw, relatable side. These individuals have a way of easing the atmosphere around them effortlessly. They chuckle freely, without gauging how it resonates. They falter in dialogue, yet transform awkward pauses into cozy interludes. We all recognize such a person, the companion who illuminates a gathering with minimal words, the passerby who elevates a fleeting encounter into a curiously memorable one. Yet, under that breezy exterior lies a profound undercurrent, a subtle mental alchemy that escapes most observers. Natural allure isn't truly without effort. It emerges from a contradiction, the contradiction embodied by the jester, someone who avoids self-importance, embracing flaws in a society fixated on appearances. The jester's brand of appeal avoids showmanship. It's rooted in allowance, the allowance to appear genuine. Music. The jester seeks no admiration. They foster bonds. They pursue no validation. They evoke ease. And here, the mental dynamics start to reveal themselves. Contemporary studies in the mind explain that one of the most potent bonds arises from what's known as benign violation theory. A sophisticated concept, yet essentially, it describes our affinity for those who tweak social norms slightly to startle us, staying clear of unease. The jester inhabits that nuanced realm. They shatter unspoken protocols of decorum through wit, introspection, and whimsy. They affirm that imperfection defines our shared nature. Around them, defenses lower, since theirs have long since vanished. At heart, appeal involves less accumulation, not extra poise, sharper banter, or finer refinement. It's about elimination, shedding facades, routines, and perpetual vigilance. Those who appear most engaging are typically just the ones who've ceased acting the part of an engaging figure. Their comfort breeds comfort, drawing us closer, not for their superior shine, but for their authenticity amid a curated reality. Experts term this emotional mirroring. We instinctively echo the moods of nearby souls. Tranquility from another soothes us. Tension from them infects us. Natural appeal stems from inner balance, the capacity to dwell at ease within oneself. It's not hubris, it's security. And security draws like a force. When a person is anchored sufficiently to expose vulnerabilities, it reassures our instincts. You're secure as well. Paradoxically, countless strive for appeal like a craft to perfect, an interpersonal talent to hone, a hidden formula to decode. Yet appeal fades instantly when it turns theatrical. You can't counterfeit calm amid efforts to attain it. You can't mimic impulsiveness through practice. The jester grasps this truth. Their appeal resides not in the deed, but in the yielding. They avoid overanalyzing responses because approval isn't their goal. That open sincerity, that's the allure no one can ignore. There's a peculiar liberation in forgoing the need to dazzle. Research in interpersonal dynamics frequently highlights the pratfall effect. It posits that capable individuals gain favor by committing minor innocuous errors, like knocking over a drink, blanking on a phrase, or poking fun at their own slip. Such instances render us approachable. The jester thrives within this dynamic. They trip with poise. They err with mirth. Thus, they release a potent force: kinship. Kinship ranks among the richest facets of appeal. Perfection in someone earns respect, but remotely. Humanity in them builds faith. Natural appeal renders trust tangible. It declares to all, quotes out. And abruptly, others find acceptance as well. Yet the jester's method holds further depth: modesty. Genuine modesty avoids diminishing oneself or feigning insignificance. It's the recognition that each person reflects varied aspects of universal human essence. The jester avoids commanding attention. They engage with it. They observe others. They absorb intently. They react to vibes, not vanity. That's the understated craft shaping their aura. A realization that appeal isn't projected outward, it's cultivated in the gaps amid interactions. In dialogue, they employ a discreet yet impactful tactic. They permit pauses to linger. They avoid hastening to bridge quiet, because quiet holds no terror for them. They attend not merely to respond, they attend to connect. And that distinction transforms everything. Many assume eloquence defines charm, yet truly attentiveness does. The jester's thoughts aren't scheming, they're attuned. They uncover levity in the overlooked, substance in the mundane, and brightness in instants others hasten by. Natural charm. Charm frequently appears as playfulness, and play stands out as one of the most overlooked drivers of emotional bonds among people. As grown-ups, we tend to view play with rarity, or even distrust. We've been conditioned to link gravity with wisdom and impulsiveness with folly. Yet, play conveys assurance, the sort that declares, "I'm secure enough to savor existence openly." This vibe pulls others closer since it stirs a primal element within us, the delight of mutual wonder. The jester doesn't merely amuse, they ignite an innocent spark, that fleeting pause in anxiety where we rediscover pure being. Still, beneath the mirth lies substance. The jester isn't innocent. They're bold. It demands bravery to remain exposed in a society that prizes restraint, to grin without strategy, to quip without safeguards, to embrace potential misinterpretation. That's raw openness. In mental health contexts, it's termed vulnerability, yet not the type seeking pity. It's vulnerability cloaked in resilience, the readiness to declare, "This is me," sans expecting applause from the universe. And this leads to a core insight about allure. It's far less about drawing eyes and more about granting leeway. When you meet someone radiating natural appeal, what strikes you is the liberty they offer. The liberty to drop defenses a bit, to reveal more of your true self. The jester's method fosters genuineness in those around them by living it fully. It's no trickery, it's harmony. They don't inject vitality into a space, they coax it forth from individuals. Often, their pull stems exactly from that element of surprise. The jester skips rigid lines. They chase intrigue. They navigate talks like adventurers, not schemers. They're unafraid of seeming absurd, posing simple queries, confessing ignorance. Through this, they assure everyone that uncertainty is fine, that inquisitiveness outshines assurance. Thus, the jester transforms openness into influence by recasting flaws as bridges. Natural allure, then, isn't rooted in being the wittiest, cleverest, or best-looking in the crowd. It's about forging an atmosphere where all sense a spark of vitality. It's a demeanor that murmurs instead of bellows, that beckons rather than acts. Experts describe its mental underpinnings through various lenses: emotional reflection, poise adjustment, pleasure sparks, but essentially it's timeless and straightforward, true self paired with buoyancy. Perhaps that's the essence contemporary society overlooks. We pursue magnetism like a formula, yet it's akin to melody. You can't manufacture flow, you sense it. The jester sways to their inner tune, perhaps off-kilter, but ever synced with authenticity. When folks catch that cadence, they gravitate nearer, unaware of the pull. In an era where all strive to seem fully composed, the one embracing silliness emerges as the most reliable. There's an odd twist in how folks pursue precisely what blooms only when pursuit ends. Appeal, poise, fluidity. These fade instantly under too firm a hold. The jester grasps this intuitively. They avoid dictating perceptions since their attention lies on their world's feel. They're not acting for approval, they're engaging to thrive. That pivot from outside nods to inner joy alters all. It's the gap between allure as facade and allure as reflection. What folks label seamless is truly inner harmony. When speech, deeds, and feelings align, it's palpable. People excel at detecting subtle mismatches, the slight pauses, contrived grins, the too smooth cadences hinting at inauthenticity. The jester forgoes such shields. Their wit rings true, their chuckles pure, their aura unguarded. They may err, of course, but errors weave into their flow. In mental studies, this aligns with self-congruence, behaving in tune with core beliefs in self. It's not about seeming proper. It's about sensing rightness. Their appeal deepens, not as a sway tactic but as crafted candor. The jester imparts sans lectures that being endearing isn't about satisfying all, It's about presenting your essence so vividly that choices arise naturally. Such transparency feels scarce, nearly holy, for at heart, what we yearn for isn't flawlessness. It's sincerity. And sincerity, amid spectacles, feels like breath. A subtle creed underpins this existence. It affirms, "Pa quotredaro." Not via triumphs, not via widespread nods, but because being grants license. The jester bears that wisdom in their stance, their chuckles, their glance. Those quirks that refuse to stay concealed. They bring back what we often overlook in our quest to shine. True bonds form right after the facades drop away. Often, the most captivating individual in the crowd isn't the one dominating the conversation or exuding the boldest assurance. It's the person who dares to show up completely engaged, no distractions from devices, no impatience for their spotlight. They're simply in the moment. The science of being truly attentive runs deep. Offering undivided focus to another person signals security to their mind. Their pulse eases, stress hormones decrease, and bonding chemicals surge. The jester delivers this without a second thought. They help others feel truly acknowledged. In those instances, folks are drawn in, not to the jester themselves, but to the warmth they spark. It's key to realize that this easy allure isn't born from cluelessness. The jester stays sharp. They pick up on subtleties. The change in voice, a hint of unease, the silent feelings hanging in the atmosphere. Yet they don't dissect them out of anxiety. Instead, they navigate with compassion. Their emotional savvy shines through authenticity, more like a natural ease with feelings. They sync with the vibe effortlessly, knowing when to ease tension, when to absorb quietly, when to share a chuckle. It's instinct, not scheming. A blend of intuition and boldness. In so many respects, the jester defies easy labels. They come off as light-hearted, yet they're profoundly attuned. They seem frivolous, but grasp human nature more keenly than many. They spark joy in others while layering insight into every witty remark. That's the core of the jester's way. Profound understanding wrapped in straightforwardness, richness veiled as breeziness. They grasp society's norms, but choose to engage playfully rather than submit rigidly. The mental agility fueling that liberty comes from flexible thinking. It's the skill to switch viewpoints, embrace opposites, experiment with concepts without getting stuck. The jester avoids stiff frameworks. They adapt fluidly. They spot the absurdity in what rigid minds obsess over and find value in the overlooked. This supple mindset renders them versatile, inquisitive, and perpetually engaging. Unshackled by the urge to prove correctness, they're intrigued by possibilities. Recall your most recent encounter with someone radiating natural charisma. Likely, you walked away feeling unburdened, motivated, or oddly at home with yourself. Authentic appeal doesn't demand. It frees. It restores your sense of self. You open up with more abandon, express truths boldly, settle into relaxation. The jester doesn't overwhelm the space with their aura. They carve room for yours. This form of engagement draws from timeless wisdom. Stoics championed apatheia, not as detachment, but as inner equilibrium, staying grounded amid turmoil. The jester channels this poise via whimsy. Their delight isn't innocent folly, it's deliberate. A stand against the weight of overthinking. They recognize that life's wild turns are simpler to handle when approached as improvisation, not confrontation. And there, the jester's appeal takes on a near mystical quality. It's less about persuasion or sway, more about linking to something greater than ego. When a person can poke fun at their slip-ups, confess uncertainty, or transform an uncomfortable pause into collective amusement, they highlight that humanity's imperfections aren't weaknesses, they're gifts. That insight brings a quiet, restorative force. It eases the tension in the air. Even brain research backs this up. Shared giggles, mutual delight, and impromptu fun trigger endorphins and dopamine, brain messengers that forge ties. The jester, unwittingly, acts as a chemical bridge. They alter a room's dynamics just by staying receptive. That's the secret to their lasting impact, not their appearance, eloquence, or successes, but the sensation their energy evokes. There's a quiet takeaway for those who've pushed too forcefully to win approval. The instant you force charisma, it evaporates. Clinging harder to a persona of popularity only widens the gap from real rapport. The jester's magnetism stems from letting go, not indifference, but freedom from neediness. They invest emotionally, yet aren't controlled by results. They see that an exchange's true value lies in sincerity, not acclaim. Critics might view this as carelessness, but it's grounded trust. Trust in raw honesty. Trust that arriving as you are suffices. The jester shrugs off the dread of seeming silly, knowing the real folly is hiding from view. When they falter, they weave it into the flow. When misread, they grin and explain. That toughness, that choice to keep the spirit unguarded, renders their appeal exceptional. Dive into tales from history, literature, or narratives, and you'll see the jester figure enduring. From Shakespeare's clowns to from ancient tricksters in folklore to today's stand-up comics, these wandering sages have always done more than just amuse. They've wrapped hard truths in jokes, voicing the unspoken fears of society and highlighting life's ridiculous side with a softer gaze. In psychological terms, this timeless figure symbolizes harmony, the fusion of sharp mind and childlike purity, profound insight and carefree fun. It nudges us that growing up doesn't mean ditching awe, it's about tempering it with insight. So, what wisdom might emerge from this jester's way of captivating? Maybe that allure isn't a skill to hone, but a fundamental reality to embrace. Folks aren't pulled to flawlessness, but to authenticity. True magnetism sparks the instant you quit the act and dive into the now, chaotically, vibrantly, wholly. Natural appeal isn't a trait you possess, it's a space you create, and therein lies its subtle grace. The jester's ultimate feat isn't trickery, but simply being there. They instruct through their very being, modeling a liberated mindset that eludes most folks their entire lives. Their chuckles carry deeper meaning, their antics embody moving sagacity. They demonstrate how existence eases up when you cease striving for others' version of remarkable. Ultimately, the essence of seamless appeal mirrors inner tranquility, acceptance of your shortcomings, the unknown, and the rawness of imperfection. The jester's path urges, dare to appear foolish, cultivate endless curiosity, offer enough warmth to let those around you unwind as themselves. That's beyond mere allure. It's the essence of genuine bonds at their core. The loveliest twist? It's accessible to all. You don't require the biggest voice, the sharpest quips, or unshakable poise. Just release the grip on flawlessness, the dread of misinterpretation, the burden of endless measuring up. The jester's hidden gem isn't arcane lore, it's yielding. It's recalling that existence isn't a show, it's a dialogue. And when you arrive as your true self, unpolished, receptive, vital, you'll realize appeal was never a lesson to master, it was a birthright to reclaim.